All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for another episode of Boss Up with Mr. Key. You got me, Andre Key, your host. And today we got a fella, man, my guy's a true hustler. And I hate to diminish it to hustler. I should say CEO, exec, from anything auto financing wise, like revolutionizing that and taking it to a whole nother digital platform, to a cigar connoisseur who learned how to monetize that in the form of NFTs and to his own cigar streaming network. Without further ado, my man over here, Eddie Green, please welcome him to the show. Eddie, thank you for showing up for me today.
Oh, bro, thank you. Thank you for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
That's good, man. So for most of our listeners on our show on Boss Up with Mr. Key, we really want people to see themselves and the individual sitting at the podcast today and learn something not only about your business, about your resolve, but also the key turning point in which you decided to say, hey, I'm done punching the clock. Okay. Again, there's nothing wrong with punching the clock, but, this is called Boss Up with Mr. Key. So, Eddie, let's start, man, way back to where you were born and raised.
Oh, way back. Okay. I was born and raised in Plainfield, New Jersey.
Nice.
70s baby, well, 80s baby, if you want to call it.
Okay.
And, Jersey, Plainfield is just like 19 miles out in New York City. So we're considered a suburb of New York City. I came up after the Martin Luther King assassination. So, the effects that I saw was, of the buildings being burned down and the businesses going away, and I came up right in that crack era also.
Wow. Yeah.
So, I saw all that.
Yeah, that was a rough time during that era. You saw it was like the tale of two sides. You seen some brothers getting super rich and then you seen communities just crumble and people turn to drugs and addiction, which was an ugly sight.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So let's talk a little bit about your siblings. How many of the Greens were there coming out of your household?
Yeah, so I got two other older brothers. They're twins, Keith and Kenny. Then I have an older sister. So I'm the baby. So I'm the one everyone looks out for.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So your brothers, I don't know what they were into, but it was good to kind of have that shield, especially in the inner city, I bet.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. It was, I learned from their mistakes. We were raised by a single mom. We grew up in the projects. It was called the old projects. They call it the brick sometime. My brothers both had to drop out early, but they did go back to school. My brother Keith ended up going to the military. Definitely proud of him because he retired as the highest you could,
Right,
retire
nice.
as
he did 20 years.
He did 30 years.
Oh, yeah. He's fine. He's set.
Yeah, he did 30 years. So, yeah, the Army definitely saved his life. My brother Kenny, though, he was my true inspiration. Growing up in Plainfield, I saw all the drug dealers. Everybody either wanted to be a drug dealer or a basketball player.
Right.
And, my brother, he was an entrepreneur. So, when everyone else is looking at the drug dealers, I'm like, man, they still live in the same houses we live in.
Right.
I'm watching my brother come from, the same environment they came from, but, he built up his business. He driving nicer cars than they are, wearing, custom suits. So, that was my idol. That's why I idolized.
That's good to have, man. That's dope. And especially in an environment where either you got a wicked jump shot or you sell crack rock, hey, it is what it is. But that's good, man. You had a little difference there. So, so from that, just seeing your brother being maybe one of the first entrepreneurs that you can actually touch, were there any key qualities that you maybe saw that he had that inspired you?
Yeah, he still had, he was from the streets, so he still had that edge about him. But I just watched how he just pulled himself up, educated himself. He was never proud of the things that he did in the past. Those things that he never ever wanted to talk about.
Keep it behind.
Yeah, where most people, they wear it as a badge of honor. I knocked this dude out. I used to do this. Yeah. So I definitely respected that. But he was all about family and hard work, man. And he gave me the first example of like being a father. You know what I mean? So, I have 4 nephews that he raised, and he was married. He was married man, businessman, and a great father.
Man, that was like the core base of a family back then.
Oh,
man. That's a good, man. That's a good vision and something good to see. So now let's take it to high school. Where'd you go to high school?
So initially I went to the high school that's in my area, but because I excelled at basketball, I had the opportunity to go to a better school. Okay. So I went to South Plainfield High School. And the crazy thing about that school is, it was mainly white. My school prior to that in the city where I lived at, we had armed security guards.
That was that generation of metal detectors.
Exactly.
Going to high school.
Yeah, and their thing was like, go to class or get out the building. So, I mean, I had one class, I missed like 80 days.
Dang.
I go to this school that's, primarily white, and all they have is 2 old white ladies as security guards on each floor. Bro, I've never missed a class.
Isn't that something? See?
I never missed a class.
That tells you about how environment shapes things. Because I remember in high school, again, we look like we're the same demographic. I swear we're the first generation of the metal detectors coming in the front door.
Yeah.
And that did something to me. And I saw a dean one time, I was getting in a little trouble in school. She took me to her office, opened up her desk. She had a couple of pistols, a 38, a 9. I'm like, whoa, where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. She closed it up. But okay, you go to high school, play basketball. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
so
play basketball.
Any notables that you ever dunked on or either at least grabbed a rebound off of?
You know what? I played with some great players as far as AAU wise. Danny Hurley, Bobby Hurley's little brother, Roderick Rhodes, Jabbar Jones, Deion Jackson. Nice. A lot of great players, man, came up with me. I was all state.
Sweet.
Was highly recruited. Things were looking up,
So you probably went into high school and you had these hoop dreams, right?
Yeah.
And, same thing with me. I played football. When did that point come? Well, did basketball take you to college?
Yes, it did take me to college.
Good. Yeah. Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Before we go to college and high school, any defining moments that maybe at that point you knew you were going to be self-employed?
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, from the beginning, I always knew. I mean, I looked at basketball as a way out. Like, I just wanted out of Plainfield no matter what.
Right.
So I knew my only way out was I need to play ball to get a scholarship to get up out of here.
Got it.
So when a lot of people had those dreams of playing in the NBA, of course, in the back of your mind, you want that. But, my initial goal was like, I got to get up out of here.
Yeah.
I got to get up out of here. So... I wanted to get up out of there. During that time in the summertime, I would work for my brother.
Okay.
So my brother owned a private detective agency.
Really?
Yeah. He owned a detective agency. So working for him, I was like, yeah, this is what I want. Like, I want to be able to call the shots. I want to be my own boss. I want to come in the office when I want to come into the office.
How many employees did he have?
Man, he had 3 offices at the time. So
what? 3 offices?
Yeah. Wow. So he covered all of Jersey, North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey. And his main office was in Central Jersey. And that's the office I worked out of. But yeah, I'd probably say altogether, he probably had, 15, 20.
Man, that's nice.
Yeah,
wow.
15, 20.
I mean, how much older is your brother than you?
He is 10 years older.
Okay, so yeah, he was like full adult. You were a teenager. Okay, I got it. I was like, man, I'm thinking like 3 years difference. This dude had to be 20 years old. Okay, got it.
He's full adult, man. But he was always more mature than his age. You know what I mean? So
especially running a business, it takes patience. And, you definitely have to have a higher IQ to figure out how to, make sure business management, accounting, all those things come into play when you run your own company.
Definitely.
Okay, good. So you went away to college. Did you graduate or did you have that story where...
My college experience was something else, man. Let's just say this. I went to 4 different schools.
Man.
I was one of those kids. So as bad as I wanted to get out of Plainfield, I still had Plainfield in me, and I didn't realize that.
Got it, yeah.
So got in some trouble at a couple different schools, man. But at the end of the day, I landed at Central Oklahoma.
Okay.
Which was a blessing for me, man. And,
Is that an HBCU?
No, Central Oklahoma is a D2 school.
Okay, got it.
After all my different journeys from different schools, I ended up at a D2 school. But it was great, man. I made friends there. You know, they're still friends.
Some relationships that you still lock in till today.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. What was your major? What were you trying to major in?
Oh, business administration.
Okay, so again, that business seed was already planted. You knew, like, hey, that's what we want to do.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so, all right. Let's look at it this way. In college, in business administration, from what you learned from your brother in business and then those business classes in college, was there a difference? Did they complement each other?
Oh, my God. There's a big difference. It's like night and day.
Tell me about that, man.
I mean, I'm sure you know, man. It's like night and day because I had that true real life experience, you know, because
beats that.
Yeah, because I was with my brother. I he would take me to meetings and, you know, I would see, you know, the real in and outs. And then, you know, you go to class and you've been taught by someone that never ran a business before.
Yeah. It's like, you're like, nah, that's not how it works.
Yeah. You know, a lot of times I would question that.
All right,
you know?
Mr. Green, just get out of class.
Exactly. A lot of times I would question that and definitely get myself in trouble. But, I realized right away that, you know, you got doers and then you got teachers. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, you got people that are talking on the soapbox all day.
Exactly.
You got people that'll be in the trenches doing the work.
Actually doing it.
Got it. So after college, let's pass college. We don't want to talk about the crazy parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But after school, did you land a job somewhere or did it take a bit?
No, I landed a job right away. I was working in marketing for the DeBartolo Group. And at the time, I think they owned like the Pittsburgh Penguins. They own a bunch of different racetracks.
Oh, nice.
And, my job was working with the racetracks that they had. Wasn't making any money. And this is a funny story because my girlfriend at the time, she was pregnant. And she was like, Eddie, I know there's something else you want to do. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I don't want to go to the office every day. So we were looking for a car at the time. And we go to this dealership. We were trying to buy a Nissan. And it was nothing but brothers working at this dealership.
Wow.
I'm talking about clean, you know, driving nice cars. And I was like, this is dope. I think I want to do this.
Right.
So then we're watching at the time Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And it was the episode where Will left school to go sell cars. and that was my calling. My girlfriend at the time was like, see, this is what you need to do. And this was a time where, you know, if you didn't have experience, they wouldn't hire you. And, I went there, applied, and there was a guy named Tracy. He was like, you know what, man? You go someplace else that'll hire you. Because we rock stars here.
Wow.
You know, you got to have some experience. He said, but you go to a place, man, you work there for a month, you bring me your commission sheet, I'll take a look at it. And
so he wanted you to prove that you belong.
So I actually had to find a place. This is at a time where they charge you to go to a class.
What?
Yeah, this dealership, they charge you to go to a class for a year.
That's a good business model.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And this was like 1994. And I'll never forget because something tragic happened in the country at this time.
Yeah.
And, I'm in Oklahoma City. I'm finishing up with that class. And, we hear big boom.
You were there where you heard the noise.
I was there. And the crazy thing is that night before they let us actually go out on a lot. And the first couple I upped was what they call when you grease someone. It was this Hispanic couple. And I remember the lady telling me that, hey, I work at the Federal Building. Didn't think nothing of it. She's like, I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to buy this car. And tomorrow came. That's when the explosion happened. I still didn't put two and two together until they start showing the names and the pictures of the people that perished in the bombing.
Man, no.
And I'm like, this is the lady,
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, man.
Man, that was so close, man. It's like 6 degrees of separation.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Definitely. Yeah, man. So, but anyway, that month I ended up selling 22 cars and made $2,200.
Really?
I was like, what the hell? This ain't right. So I took my commission slip to the guy Tracy at the Nissan dealership. He's like, look, I can't hire you on used cars, but you could go sell new cars. So I'm like, okay.
Right.
The first person I greeted, I sold the car. The sales manager at the time, I believe his name was Dan Welch, and he's like, man, I'm sorry, Eddie. I'm trying to make you more money on this deal, man, but it made $584. That's your commission. I'm like, what? $584? I'm like, I just sold 22 cars for $2,200. And I was hooked. It was an instant drop. Instant drop. So, I got into the car business, and I just kept moving up.
Let me ask you this, because I mean, selling cars, regardless, whatever industry you in, I think it's important to be able to sell yourself, sell your product, sell your service, etc.
Yeah.
Like, obviously you walked in there, the first person, you slam dunked it.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that skill set from?
I think I truly got that from working with my brother.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
Definitely got that from working with my brother.
Came back, man. You owe your brother, man, some cigars, bro.
Definitely. If he smoked, I definitely would. But not just him, but I think Plainfield too, man, because, it was a violent city, and you either going to fight your way out or talk your way out. And some things you just don't want to fight your way out. So you have to learn how to talk your way out. So I just naturally had that gift of gab because, I end up in neighborhoods I'm supposed to be in. I need to talk my way up out of it. So.
Hey, man, sounds like my story. Definitely. You have to know how to talk your way out or face prison time or death,
exactly.
So it's like, hey, that's the easiest option. Let me learn how to do this.
Definitely.
Okay, good, man. So you went there, started selling cars. How long were you in that profession?
I was in that profession from, I want to say about maybe 5 years. And I started selling and ended up, I'd done everything in the car business from selling to, general manager to, owning a car dealership. But prior to actually owning a car dealership, I had two partners that I met at the dealership, and we were like, man, we just weren't happy with, the dealership itself. And we were like, man, we should do something on our own. We all have a pretty big dealer base. So we decided to start a company, a referral-based company. And it's what people do now on the internet, but this is prior to the internet, where we didn't have a dealership, but we had a dealer base. And what we would do is we would go out and make relationships with different dealers, and we would provide them with leads, with customers. And so that way now we're not limited to one dealership.
Were you still working at this dealership, kind of doing both?
Oh, no. We just bounced.
Oh, okay, got it.
And it was a struggle. It was a struggle. I'm sleeping on the couch in the office type struggle.
Yeah.
But then it hit. And, we had a few dealers, and long story short, we were averaging about $1,000 a copy without any inventory. So we had nothing that we had to invest.
You had no inventory expenses.
And we're doing 100 deals a month, and it's three of us.
Sweet. Oh, man.
And I'm 23 years old,
There we go. The addiction starts.
Yeah,
I like this.
So... And, it was great, man. We, at the time, we're balling. We're living like the dope boys are living. We're in Vegas, going to the Tyson fights,
Nice. Yeah, living a life, bro.
Yeah, he's living it, But we were young, and of course, when you're young, you make mistakes.
Yeah,
and,
you see that money coming in. It's like, this is really the business of money, but I'm at the slots in Vegas.
Exactly. And then it's like, Uncle Sam, who's he?
Right.
It's like, what?
Let's go back real quick, because I always tell, people that aspire to, run their own business, you have to be able to fund that business. So sometimes that requires still working a job while working the business, or unless you have the gift of gab to be able to get investors, or like you did, have some partners. So where'd that startup come from?
I guess the limit of statutes.
Okay. Enough said. I already got it. It could have me. They don't call you green for anything, probably.
But we all came from the streets at the time, and so we just decided to do right with some money that we had put to the side,
and make it clean.
And that's what we did. To be quite honest with you,
right. So, I get that. I mean, you had a goal, and so many brothers, man, that touch that never look at the way out. It's like one more lick, and that last lick can cost you your life. But at least you all had that vision to say, hey, we're going to just, here's our target. We get that, business is going to start. So, okay, good. So you had some bumps and bruises. Money was flowing in, still young, probably running up credit card debt, whatever, spending cash. What happened with that company?
What happened with that company? We decided that we wanted to make more money, took that money and invested in concerts.
Concert promoting?
Concert promoting, man.
That's a lucrative business,
It is a lucrative business, but we're in Oklahoma City at the time, and we made some poor decisions on some concerts that we wanted to do. I never forget, we did an old school hip hop show 2 days before Christmas. Oklahoma's one of the poorest states, man.
Everybody was already tapped out.
Yeah, they tapped out. And, we bring in, at the time, it was like Run DMC, Houdini.
Too short or something.
And I'll never forget, Run was a Reverend at that time. And he was like, yo, man, y'all should have brought Master P. This is when P was...
I should have brought me.
Yeah, he said it with more colorful language, even him being a pastor at the time. But I was like, yeah, we probably should have. And then we had 2 weeks later, we had New Year's Eve, and we were bringing Casey and JoJo. Mm-hmm. And that's New Year's Eve again. In Oklahoma. Yeah,
man.
So we lost our behinds on those two concerts, and that's when we all decided to split.
Did you all, was there a little bit of like button heads at that point, or you were like, man, we're just gonna take our losses?
It definitely was. It was definitely some button heads. Definitely some finger pointing, but I went back to basics. I went back to what got it started, and that was the referral based business.
Okay, got it.
So those guys, they felt like they were too big to,
go backwards. Huh?
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, I just had a son at the time. I had just got married. I'm like, no, I'm going back to what works.
I got to build it back up. Something I know, right?
Exactly.
So you went back there. Is that where the online financing? Is that where it was birthed?
Exactly. Exactly.
What was that key light or that key moment that told you, hey, this is how I can flip that into this?
Yeah. Well, years later, at the time I'm living in Connecticut, and I had started working for a finance company. Okay. And I was a rep for a finance company, and we had a ton of dealers that were my clients, and I still just had that referral based, business in the back of my head. I'm like, well, okay, I have this finance company here, right, and I have these dealers that I have a relationship with. Right. I'm like, the difference between now and then is, okay, now the internet is booming, and I have the relationships with the finance companies. All right. So I'm like, okay, let me just bring those three together. And that's how that all got started.
Man, I like how you think, man. Yeah. Like, how do those ideas come up? And you wake up at 3 a.m, like, man, let me just start writing. Or
I always go, whatever I'm doing, how can I make it better?
Nice. Okay.
How can I be an innovator? How can I disrupt what the industry is doing and be that difference maker?
Well, how do you deal with? A lot of times people come up with great ideas, and then the fear of failing may prevent them from even taking the first step, or when they get 3 steps in, they get afraid and just maybe it all dissolves. How do you overcome that, or are you just fearless when it comes to that?
I'm never fearless. I have fear just like everyone else, man. But I tell people all the time, man, I failed more than I had success, but it's just like, I'm just one of those people that believe in just getting up. And I believe in myself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Invest in you, right?
I definitely invest in myself. Yeah. And then, I watch other people from afar, and I go, I'm just as smart as them.
I always do that too. Like, man, these dudes aren't smarter than me. Like,
exactly.
It's just what you do with your 24 hours that you have.
Exactly.
And failure is like, hey, I figure like I made it out of the hood of Chicago.
Yeah.
If this isn't going to kill me, like, what's the worst? It's not going to send me to jail. It's not going to kill me. I mean, I can just pick myself back up and keep it going. So that's good. That's a good mentality to have.
Yeah.
So you do that. You connect those 3.
Yeah.
Where did that take you?
Where did that take me at that time? By that time, I believe I was moving to Kansas City because my wife at the time had took a job to KC. And I actually met some investors. And this is my first time actually dealing with investors. And they liked what I was doing, and they wanted to get behind it. But I was still young. I wasn't great at, negotiating. I was just really at the time just happy that someone else believed in my vision and they wanted to put money behind it, So one of my first startups was with a company called Capital Finance, and they were a captive with auto group. This auto group had about 6-7 stores. And I actually helped them from the beginning. And then those stores kind of got in trouble, but the finance company was still there. So I was able to get in the ear of the president of like, hey, let me do this. Let's do some indirect lending instead of just, doing lending for this group. I could go out and get us more dealers. And he's like, hey, go for it.
Man, he gave you the green light.
Yeah, he gave me the green light. And that was one of the first startups that I started. And then, people always want to go back to what they feel safe with. And at this time, I said, I'm never doing retail again. And what they wanted to do, because I was doing my own deals also.
Right.
Because I always had that referral-based business.
That kept it going. Yeah. Never gave it up.
And the deal I had with them was like, look, I'm going to do my deals. I'm going to sign up my dealers. They'll send deals to you directly. But my customers, I'm going to do my deals on my dealers' cars. I'm going to, charge my dealers X amount of money. And you know what happened, man? People start counting your money.
Yeah, like you're getting too big.
You're getting too big. Yeah. So they were like, hey, how do we control Eddie? Let's make him run this dealership for us.
Yeah.
And that happened. And, it was their money. And, the golden rule is whoever has the gold makes the rule.
Yeah, that's true.
So I will abide by your rule until I get my money.
Right. I know you're probably already thinking a few steps ahead. Like, I can do this until I can plan my exit strategy.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I did. I met another group and I presented to them what I did with this other group. And they're like, hey, let's do it. I said, but this time, I want a piece.
Negotiation came into play.
So as you grow and you make those mistakes, you learn and so
here's a learning lesson real quick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, when it's time to raise money or you have investors behind you, if you had that to do over, because I struggle with that, man, how do I want to structure this? I knew I need to talk to my attorney. So what would you have done differently to try to structure that where it was just them as investors and you kept most of the ownership?
I would have structured the ownership first. You would have done the corporation first.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I would have structured the corporation first with me owning a bigger percentage of it.
And then just give them shares based on the investment. Okay,
exactly.
Good.
And that's what I do now.
Nice,
I wish I would have done that then, but yeah.
Are you on autopilot with that, or do you consult a business attorney, or how do you structure different joint ventures?
Oh, definitely a business attorney. Yeah, at this stage in my life. Yes. Yeah, definitely.
No chance you don't really want to make the mistakes. You want to have somebody
listen. Yeah, that's what they go to school for.
Right. Let the experts be the experts.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the smart things that leaders have to do. At some point, you have to go. I can't do everything.
Yeah.
But I am proud of the fact that, hey, I didn't graduate college, but everybody that works for me did.
Yeah, You mentioned something, and so let's go back really quick as far as not doing everything yourself. It takes having a lot of trust in others and, kind of having that leadership quality.
Yeah.
When did you get to that point when you realized that I can't be my own secretary? I can't be this, when did that hit you?
That's probably that was one of my biggest struggles. I'll be completely real with you because it was hard for me to trust people.
Yeah.
And I'm somewhat of a control freak. But I learned from pain and aggravation.
At some point, it's I need to delegate. Here's the budget. You can do it.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's hard to find really good people out there. But when you do, you have to pay them well.
It's gold. You got to take care of them.
Yeah, you have to take care of them, man. And they become like family.
Yeah.
And then that's where that loyalty comes. And I had people that's been with me from, 3 other businesses that I started, and they're still with me,
So let's talk a little bit about, you also mentioned when you were younger and you had that business and probably not a real grasp on business financing. I'm huge on that, making sure you don't commingle. If you have a company, pay yourself, but reinvest in the company. When did you see that as being valuable for you?
Oh God, I saw that. I want to say I saw that when I started not capital finance, but strategic finance. I definitely enjoyed their structure that they had. Their comptroller and their CFO. I had a ton of respect for them, but I became a student.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm always in there asking them questions, So that's definitely where it started, and I definitely believe you have to have that foundation as far as that strong financial team. Of experts.
Yeah, you do need that. You need that, and then it leads into your taxes and all of that. Yep. So all right, man. Tell us about these cigars, man. I already see that your business acumen started getting sharpened at an early age.
Yeah.
So now you have X amount of years of experience in how to set up a business, run a business. Like, what made you go to the cigar route?
You know what, man? I started smoking cigars like a lot of people at first as a celebration. You know, it was a celebratory thing to do, to smoke cigars.
Right.
And then I started visiting cigar lounges, and I just didn't see a lot of us at the time. This is like 11 years back.
Okay.
So I didn't see a lot of us, you know, I saw a lot of us smoking, but not truly having brands themselves. So again, my thing is, I want to be the first. So it was one of those things that, hey, I want to be the first. And, you know, that's, you know, I took that step, took that leap, educated myself on it, and, you know, found a great tobacconist and came up with a couple blends, failed at it. And then put it to the shelf. Right. Because I think one thing about being a great leader is knowing of when you have to stop doing something that's not working. Yeah. That doesn't mean you have to give up on it, right. But you might have to go, let me go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I think a great country singer once said you have to know when to fold them.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, in this case, I didn't fold it. You know, it's not into the game. I just go, let me just sit these cards to the side.
I'll come back. Let me just sit it back.
So, so I came back to it. And by that time, I start seeing other people that look like me starting brands. And then I saw the popularity of the culture just growing. Yeah. So I really start paying attention to that. So it goes beyond just the cigar.
It's starting to grow.
Yeah. So the leaf brings us together, but the culture is so diverse. So I start seeing a ton of women in it, especially a ton of Black women. Majority of the cigar lounges that carry my products are Black women.
Nice.
You know? And I start seeing that, and then they start, you know, with us, we make a party out of everything.
Right.
We're party with a purpose. So I started seeing these cigar weeks pop up, like Tampa Cigar Week, Charlotte Cigar Week, things like that. And, you know, they become, you know, big, you know, 4-day events. And I was like, man, right now, how can I be innovative and capitalize off that?
Look at that.
You know? So I had a nephew who was trying to get me into Bitcoin and NFTs and everything like that. So when he brought up the NFT, initially, you know, I really didn't understand it that much, but I just saw that, well, this is going to make me different from everyone else in selling cigars. That's the first thing I saw.
Right. You saw that line of demarcation. Yeah. Hey, how can I stand out?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, how can I stand out from everyone else? So initially it was that, but then I fell in love with the whole concept of it. You know, once I started to understand
once you
it.
dove into it.
Yeah, I fell in love with it, man. And so, you know, we did it. We did the NFT, and the first launch was great. And like we spoke about earlier, with everything that happened, you know, things are kind of slowing down.
Yeah, with the NFT, it'll be back.
It's coming back, though.
You know what I like about your story, man? What I like about you is that you get this idea and this concept. And I mean, I don't know. It doesn't feel like you sit on it for 2 or 3 years.
Bro, study long, study wrong. I tell people that every time. I mean, I know so many smart people and they just outthink themselves.
Analysis paralysis. Yeah, man. Keep thinking about, Yeah,
and I'm just one of those people, like I said, I believe in myself. And I go, I just got to do it. I just got to get started. Because that's what motivates me. Right. And if I say I'm going to do something, if I put it out there, I'm going to do it. Man, that's my word. I have to do it. You know what I mean? So that's just my little way of how I motivate myself.
It's crazy because I see that correlation if we go back to college and the business classes where you saw the difference in learning from your brother, like hands-on versus, you know, textbook knowledge. Yeah. You fast forward, you're like, hey, I'm not going to sit on YouTube and look at, you know, and try. I'm just going to put a toe in. Just tell me how to start. Yeah. And I'll take my bumps and bruises that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I feel like every education is going to cost you. So you can go to UT and pay $70,000 a year, or you could just start the business with your first $5,000-$10,000. Yeah. And if you lose a little bit, just consider it tuition.
Exactly. It's so funny you say that because I say that all the time. I'm like, I paid for my education. With those losses, I paid for it.
You got you know, no student loans at all.
Yeah, no student loans. Man. I paid cash.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, but you know, it's funny you say that. I say that all the time. Yeah, all the time.
So, man, you went from the technology. And also what I'm hearing is like being the forefront of being out in front of the technology. Like back when the financing, became an idea. Hey, connect that with online.
Yeah.
NFTs. Hey, how to figure out how to go into that area.
Yeah.
And now we have the streaming network. Tell us a little bit about that.
So with the streaming network, truly how that came about. First, it came about in regards to our online marketplace, to Lie to You. I was looking for different places to advertise, and it's called Fast TV or Over the Top TV, which are those streaming apps. But I had no control of where my commercials were placed.
Right.
But now I'm looking at the cigars, and I'm going at, like, even, you got social media. They don't allow us to, promote tobacco on social media. We can only relate. Yeah, I can't pay for an ad like I could pay for with the finance company or with the cars. I can't pay for an ad on Facebook or Instagram.
Wonder what's that about?
Because it's tobacco.
Tobacco.
Yeah. So I saw that, and the only thing I could do is reach my current audience. So I see all these other tobacco related podcasts or tobacco related clothing lines or hats, people that make hats, anything related to the industry, and they're all limited. So I go, man, let's just create our own.
I love it, man.
So I'm like, hell, I'm just going to do my own. And that way, not only do I market my project, but I will market others. Yeah. And it's definitely more than, and I'm big on, it's not just about me.
Right.
It's about the culture. It's about the other businesses. Like, how can I help them grow? And now what we do with Cigar Life TV, like the podcasters that we have, they do the YouTube and things like that. And I believe you have to have a certain amount of streams to see dollars. What we actually do is we go out and find them sponsors. So that you're eating right away with us.
Right. Nice.
We do profit sharing right away. So I got a cigar brand, like, say, case in point, True Gent. And I go, hey, I want to sponsor, Andre Key show.
Let me check that True Gent out really quick.
You know what I mean? So, and then, I actually match up those advertisers that's trying to get their message out with influencers and podcasters like yourself, or comedians that do skits and things like that. So that's what Cigar Life TV is about. We do the direct advertising connection.
Nice.
Because I want there's tons of talented people. I know, podcasts like this, it costs money.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, you brought us some great drinks. Like, that wasn't cheap. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, man, let me just, match up those advertisers that I know trying to get their message out with people that have a platform that can help them get their message out. And then, we create the network to get it all out.
Man, I can tell you move, man. You grind it out. Like, how many hours do you sleep?
So funny. I just had this talk. One thing I will tell people about being an entrepreneur: get yourself a good therapist. I'm a big believer in mental health.
Yes, indeed.
A big believer in mental health. So it's funny. I had my session today, and part of my session is about sleep. She's like, "How many hours you sleeping?" So no, but that is one of my secrets that I tell people that want to be an entrepreneur. Yeah, because it's lonely.
You need, it is very lonely.
Everyone doesn't see your vision.
Right. And every time you go around and you're at an engagement, you're talking business strategies, and everybody's like, why does God always talking? Exactly. Hey, that's what I dream. That's what I thrive on. So that's good, man. That's important, because your mental health is really huge. And to stay balanced and run your business, you almost got to be kind of a madman or woman to kind of really catapult your business, catapult your ideas. So I understand, definitely. That's a good piece of advice, man. I might have to look into that myself. How do you keep like balance with work life or business life and family?
I'm very disciplined about my day. So I do wake up early. I meditate right away. I drink a warm cup of water. I go to the gym. I stretch for 30 minutes before I do any weightlifting. And I don't look at any emails or anything like that
before you get those things done.
Exactly. And although I had different businesses, I try to prioritize what business is in need of help the most.
Right. Yeah.
So the finance business is on cruise control.
Good.
It rarely needs any help from me. I have a great team. They run it. So you
establish that system and it's flowing. Right.
Exactly. Good. So a lot of times with me, it's just checking the email to see that everything is going well with that. And I just prioritize my day that I'm going to spend 3 hours on this business, 2 hours on this business, lunch, another 3 hours on this, and, then family time.
I like when you said meditate. That's what I do the first thing in the morning, man. That's just like essential because as an entrepreneur, I feel like my mind is always trying to race and figure out 5 steps. Hey, what I'm going to do with this person, and then how am I going to deal with this concept? Yeah. Who do I need to call? I know it's on my calendar, but this is priority. So it's important to try to clear your mind and just get grounded before you start your day. So I think that's huge, man.
Definitely.
Well, good, man. Eddie, I'm going to tell you like this, man. I feel like we could do about a 3-part series, man. You got a few things going on. And I like it. Just talking to you just really inspired me and had me motivated. How my mind works, I'm already thinking like, oh, man, I need to go and do this and I need to put this together. But, let's talk to the people one more time and let's tell them if they need to find you, if they wanted to invest, if they wanted to find products, if they any way to be a part of you, tell them how they can connect.
Oh, definitely. Email if you're interested in Cigar Life TV. The email is partners@cigarlifetv.com. If you're interested in buying cigars, it's truegentcigars.com. I do have a book because of all my failures that I had. The name of my book is called Failed Up. And this is how you turn your failures into success.
Man.
Yeah. So
hey, we need a copy of that book on the show. I want to do a giveaway. First, I want to read it, and then we want to pay it forward to some of the audience members.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Man, that's huge, man. What's next? What's next down the pipeline?
Man, next down the pipeline is really my focus is Cigar Life TV right now. I did partner up with a new company called G-Lux Automotive, which they are a online dealership, 100% online dealership.
Like similar to Carvana type?
Yeah, very similar to Carvana. Okay. I'm bringing my finance expertise to that. And actually, we seal the deal next week. The press release and everything is next week.
Oh, I like it, man. I love it. Hey, man, you keep it going, man. Hey, any parting words for any entrepreneurs out there that hear your story and have that drive? Like, you have any messages you want to share with them?
Yeah, definitely. I would say just block out the outside noise. Believe in yourself, Definitely try to meditate. That's one thing that always helps me. But definitely believe in yourself. Block out the outside noise. You're always going to have those people that say, oh, you need to just get a 9 to 5, or you need to just focus on that. There's no disrespect towards them. They love you. They just don't. They're just not in the same place that you are right now. So I would just say, just stand your ground. Kind of have blinders on when it comes down to those negative people that's trying to get you off your mark of what you're trying to do, and just go for it. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah.
Man, have a level of tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Man, Eddie, I appreciate you bringing this game to the show today. I'm ready to spark up one of these True Gent cigars. Yeah. And hey, to the people out there, I want to give a special thanks to Tanya Narvaez for putting this together. My boy Wes, of course, I appreciate it, man. And I think that's a wrap. I'm ready to smoke this cigar. Thank you all for listening. Until next time.